Welcome back to the Great American Outdoorsman. In this video today, I'm going to show you how to skin a deer. The first thing that we're going to do is actually just ring around the back legs with your knife, but be careful not to cut that Achilles tendon. Now it's important to note that whether the deer is hanging up or laying on the ground, the process is the same. The first thing you do is ring around both legs. The reason that I do this hanging up is just to keep the meat clean. You know, if you do it on the ground, you're going to get dirt on the meat no matter what you do. You could always lay a tarp down and do it that way if you want to. Just make sure that you're not getting your meat dirty because it's impossible to fully clean it once you do. And I've also found that when you do it hanging up, it's a lot easier just to keep hair off of the meat. And you can also use gravity to help you out, where if you're on the ground, you don't have that luxury. One thing that you'll notice here as I'm cutting the skin, I'm actually trying to go underneath the skin and cut out towards me. And what I don't want to do is just take the knife and cut straight through all the hairs, because the more hairs you cut through from the outside, the more hair falls into your meat. So once you've got that initial cut there, just try to go from the underside. Now that you've got the rings cut around the legs there, you're just going to make an incision on the inside of both thighs, starting at that ring that you made and going down to where the skin ends. Now what you want to do is go ahead and start opening up those hind legs. I always like to peel it to the back first before I work around to the other side. I'll do that on both sides, and then I'll go back up to the top and I'll start working it down. Once the hind legs are opened up, you can just grab the top of that skin there, and you're just going to pull down on it as you cut. And it's important that you cut towards the meat whenever you're doing this through the entire process. You don't want to cut towards the skin, because every time you cut through the skin, you put more hair onto the meat. So cut towards the meat all the time. Now that you've got both the back legs opened up, you're just going to grab that tail and give it a good tug, and then cut a little bit of the meat there. And then you're going to give it a couple big tugs, a couple of cuts, and eventually you'll feel it pop loose. Once you've cleared the hind legs and the tail, you can really just grab it and pull it down. In this situation, I'm trying not to break my rope here, but if you have a strong enough rope holding it up, you can actually pull this all the way down to the front shoulders before you need to make any more cuts. If at any point you're pulling on it and you just start to feel a lot of resistance, you can come up just like I'm doing here and just cut any of the bigger connections, and then from there you'll be able to pull again. All right, up to this point, it's been pretty easy. When you get down here to the shoulders, it's going to get a little bit tougher. You actually have to cut on the inside and the outside of the shoulders here. So right here, I'm cutting on the outside of it. I'm freeing up these big chunks of meat right here. And then once I get it down a little bit further, you'll see me start cutting on the inside of it. And you're just going to keep doing that until your inside cut and your outside cut marry up on the underneath side of that shoulder. Once that happens, you can just cut straight through it, and you'll see that coming up here in a second. Right here is what I was talking about, cutting on the inside of the shoulders all the way up on that chest plate. Just keep cutting that down until you feel it meet up with your outside cut. Right here, I can feel that my cuts have now met, so I'm gonna grab my knife and I'm just gonna go ahead and push it all the way through there. And once that's done, I can put my hand in there and just push it down. Now that you're down to this point, you're getting pretty close to the end. It's going to get a little bit tough to pull here, so you're going to have to cut and then pull and then cut and then pull. And what you're trying to do is get past that joint right there that you can see. And then once you do that, you can actually just take your knife and cut underneath the hoof and the whole thing will just come off. And once you do that, you're done. You're ready to start quartering this thing. Now, if you want to keep the skin, you can do the same thing that we did up with the top legs, which is just ring around the neck if you're trying to take the skin home. But once you're done, that's it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks, y'all.